Recording. Here we go.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Declare your independence from Ernest Hancock, Arizona. Hey, from the BEA People Studios of Dreams of the Nest, DreamsPhoenix.com. James Corbett. Wednesday night every week, gotta get all caught up and stuff would be happening. Way too much stuff goes by. Certainly now before we got check in with James. Now I went over and I watched. I got caught up on a bunch of stuff and watching and doing. There's so much stuff to talk about, and I put up a few ideas that I wanted to get into. But one of the main things I want to make sure we talk about right away is by example, we're going to learn about technocracy via Mars. So let's go ahead and do that. So technocracy, the technocrat Elon Musk going to Mars. Tell us everything, man.
All right. Well, Ernie, I know you're a big Elon Musk fanboy, so it doesn't matter that he's a charlatan. It doesn't matter that he's a carnival barker. It doesn't matter that he's a con man. It doesn't matter that he lies about everything.
You say I'm a big Elon fan.
Well, you always seem to defend him, and I find that funny. But I get it. He does big, splashy things, and makes headlines, and it's kind of fun.
It's kind of like Trump. It's kind of like Trump, but with technology.
Kind of, right. But here's the thing. He's a technocrat. Sorry to burst your bubble, but he is a technocrat. And
I don't want to live under his rule. I just want one of his spaceships.
Well, you're going to live under his rule, according to Werner von Braun. Did you catch that? So I did this article, All Hail Elon's Martian Technocracy, that people can go look at on my site. And I just threw it as a little link in there, just as a kind of a throwaway. But Werner von Braun, in some book that he wrote back in the 50s or 60s or whatever it was, you know, the NASA Nazi
paperclip guy,
rocket scientist guy.
Right.
He wrote some novel, some fiction book about Martian colonization or whatever. And in that book, he says that the leader, like the government that they form on Mars, the leader is going to, the name is not going to be president or something. It's going to be Elon, the Elon of Mars, ELON. And when that came, when people dug that up, they're like, no way, that can't be in the original manuscript. So someone went to the archives, dug up the original manuscript. It is in there. ELON. The leader of Mars is going to be Elon.
Did that have anything to do with his being named by his parents? Did that come up?
Not that I've seen. I don't think they. Well, maybe. Yeah.
You never know.
Who knows? Who knows?
You never know.
Nothing to look into anyway.
But
here we are. Well, I was just going to say, and here we are, 2019, and guess who's announcing the Martian Technocracy? That's right, June 24th, 2019, at Elon Musk, accelerating Starship development to build the Martian Technocracy, which was part of his Occupy Mars thing that he was doing, splashing pictures of the moon, which he was saying was Mars, on his Twitter account, and saying we're gonna colonize Mars and all this. Okay.
Okay. How do you think a Mars colony would be done if not by SpaceX wanting to run it whatever way they're going to with their whatever?
Well, first of all, before we get into that, so why do I say he's a technocrat? Well, maybe Elon Musk is just using a cool word that he, read.
Oh, he's actually claiming it.
But in fact, as I first saw on technocracy.news, so thanks to Patrick Wood for flagging this, although it has been reported by several places. Elon Musk's grandfather, his Canadian grandfather, who was living in American-born, but he grew up in Saskatoon
or whatever.
was either the leader of the Technocracy Party in Canada or their research director, or maybe both. It's reported differently in different places. But anyway, was a big high-ranking guy in Technocracy, the Technocracy political party in Canada, which was banned because the Canadian government said, this looks like a bunch of radical subversives who's going to overthrow the government. So they banned the Technocracy Party. And as part of that, I don't know. There might have been
why they wound up in South Africa, kind of thing.
Yeah, as part of that, he decided, okay, I'm out of here. I'm going to South Africa, and so he flew his family to South Africa, the long way, obviously, taking little stops every few hours, kind of thing, until they made their way to South Africa. And crazy
just
story.
fall
But anyway,
your way.
Elon
It's always
grandfather, literally a card-carrying party member technocrat. So when Elon Musk is talking to democracy, he's not just pulling word out of a hat. He knows what he's talking.
Oh, that's just amazing that it just falls right in your lap, man. This is good stuff.
It's crazy.
Well, my thing is, I've been thinking about this when this came up, and I'm going, what are they going to do? It's my freaking rocket company. I want to freaking do they get in the worship of Jobs or something, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, whatever. They're going to go.
Garford.
Yeah. It's going to be like the 1984 commercial, except it's going to be 2001 won't be like 2001. So I'm thinking that the better way to do it would be the ship. It's not the company. You're going to go on their ship, and then you already owe your soul to the company store on Mars. I mean, that wouldn't be a great idea. I would think it would be a lot better that it's more like, and it probably will be. I think this is what's going to happen. They're inspiring, get a lot of new tech. He doesn't patent the rocket motors. He's like, you want them, buy them, do them, peace out, get him at discount and volume, go build your own damn rocket. Well, doing this, I think just like the Gigafactory and the batteries is where his thing's going to be. He gives out all the patents to the cars and so on, peace out. You think you can do it better. And the thing is I think what's going to happen, it's going to be more like a homesteading, the Oklahoma Sooners, the 49ers. It's going to be a gold rush of something, and it's going to be the guy that made all the money is not the guy hoping to strike it rich. It's the guy that was selling the shovels, So I think he's a shovel seller. So I'm looking more towards they're going to be, now he'll never say this, or man, you definitely get nipped in the bud. But I think we're going to Mars. There may be some examples, but it's going to be everybody's going to want to do their own thing because they always do, and they'll pay the money and screw you. Yeah,
there are three ways that this could go, and two of them are basically the same. One is government. That's going to be funding it as basically a military project with, I guess we'll have some sort of civilian window dressing on the side to make it look legit. Two would be corporate, some big corporate behemoth, we're going to do this, it's our ship, and you can buy a seat on our ship for $1 million.
A Virgin logo on it and sell more records.
Exactly. Right. Or number three, decentralized, everyone can do it for themselves. Obviously, that's the way that it should go.
I think he's going to demonstrate, create some kind of an infrastructure or something and sell everybody rocket fuel and electricity. He's going to be making rocket fuel on Mars and going, got another gas station? Yeah.
I mean, the way that it'll work in some form or another is commercialization of space. And, of course, everyone's talking about mining asteroids and that kind of thing. There's quadrillions of dollars of golds and other minerals out there on these.
Yeah, for the first
asteroids. Week. So, that will be an incentive, clearly. But then again, so the real question is this going to boil down to another military / corporate colonization that's
I don't know. Elon Musk's grandfather being a technocrat from Canada, that just fell right in your lap. That's good.
It did, didn't it? And you know what? I also mentioned in passing in that article about Neuralink, the Elon Musk's technocratic wet dream of connecting.
Yeah, I watched the thing last night.
Yeah.
Did you?
And I didn't know there was going to be this press conference this week, but there you go. As you say, last night there was a press conference. I didn't see it, so you can tell us what he actually said.
The main thing, it was just, I can do it in 30 seconds. It was demonstration after 2 years of where we are and all different categories of hardware, software, interface, analog to digital, how fast we can do inside the brain, how we insert with a sewing machine, kind of microfiber, kind of blah, 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 blah. And it was more to encourage people to participate and get some help with some neuroscientists at universities and so on. So basically they're going, look, this is where we are. This is what we've done. Who wants to help? Who's got bright ideas? Boom. And they're way, way, way further down the road than I thought. They're my monkeys controlling computers kind of stuff. And it's that fifth grade, 12-year-old kind of thing. Yeah, can't we? The brain's electrical and you got like neurons. Well, can't we like stimulate them with electricity and we kind of make stuff and do and matrix back to the head plug small device of nano whatever the hell? I mean, can't we just do that? Yeah, probably, So then they did. Well, the concept that he had is that artificial intelligence is a big threat. I agree. And that's why we have first contact protocol, the letters of Captain Mark. It's about what happens when AI says no. I mean, your ship is, I want, Tony Stark's Jarvis, not Alexa. I want it to be my, artificial intelligence that I control. That's my, stuff. I don't want to be plugged into the whatever. So he's afraid of that also. So he has OpenAI, which is open source, all this stuff about artificial intelligence. And his concept is that if we don't have it as civilians, as the people, it's not democratized out amongst.
Don't you think that's to come out and say, we're doing this to control you? It's no, everybody.
Oh, of course, man. I'm hip. And the thing is that they have the hardware now to interface to do it. My thing is that just like it's from a lot of coming, it's who's going to have access to it and how. And I'm like, the more innovation I can get and take it away from the government and NASA, the more innovation I can get taken away from the CDC and the FDA, the more innovation I can get, then I can go all pirate everything. I'll just take it and decentralize down to me. So that's really my concern. I'm not, I'm worried about their changing us as our humanity because that's how they're going to win.
Yeah. This is what I want to say because I want to say, I don't think I even want Jarvis. I don't care if I even control the technology. The technology is still controlling me and nudging me and controlling my behavior. Even if I get to set, okay, no, I'm going to do this with it. I'm going to do that with it. It still changes the function of who I am and what I do in the world. And I'm not sure I want that. And what if, am I allowed to not want it?
Yeah, no. I'm hip. I'm here on a couple of acres and I got, chickens to feed and, fish to feed and lawn to mow and blah, 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 blah. And an incubator rabbit hutch for chicken egg of yada, yada, yada. So I'm going, I can do an Arduino here and I can do a little this and that and I can push button and timer and make it easier. But it'd be really nice just to go without Alexa phoning home. I'm just like, no. So I'm not, I got a phobia about technology. I just know better. Of course, they want a smart meter on my thing and, control when it. And I remember when smart meters first came out, it was like a decade ago or more in California where they were able to turn off your air conditioner. They wanted to make it to where, brown out of you, you're hot. Okay. So this is, and now we have electrical going down in New York right now or Chicago. It was New York, wasn't it? And DC now it's hitting. So I'm not, against technology. I'm just against it being weaponized against me and I'm not able to defend myself with my own, So,
the older I get, the more I am against technology.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely, we're insulating grandkids from no more blue face.
Yeah.
No more blue face. Well, that's what you got to say. I think you can end on a win right there with Elon's grandfather thing. That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Where is that? Did you do a video or anything?
No, it's just the article that I did. So it's an exclusive for the people who are listening to this conversation because no one reads my articles.
Yeah. Well, you had the technocracy. That's the technocracy one, the Mars technocracy. It's in there.
All hail Elon's Martian technocracy. Yeah.
That should be a subtitle. Elon Musk's grandfather. Technocrat. Kick that can.
Yeah.
Oh, good on you.
Maybe I should do a Meet Elon Musk edition of my podcast sometime.
That'd be awesome. I would get the idea that he would take it seriously. He'd going, yeah, that does kind of look bad. Maybe I need to put on some more frosting. We'll make another car. All right. So one other thing is Peter Thiel did, they say Thiel. I thought it was Thiel. I don't know. Anyway, so Peter.
I don't know.
Peter
I've
PayPal
never
guy.
bothered to learn, and I don't want to know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Peter PayPal guy. He comes out. He got outed by Gawker as being gay, and then he used the Hulk Hogan thing to bankrupt them and go after and get some. And I'm like, cool, power people, man, whatever. But he's kind of this Trump guy, and being in the gay community in Silicon Valley, and he went conservative, man, they ain't like that none too much. So he just come out here recently saying, yeah, we need to be checking on Google. They don't want to work for U.S. military, which doesn't bother me one bit. And then they go, but they're working for the Chinese, and most of the employees kind of side, them communist Chinese. So we need to have FBI and CIA check them. And I'm going, do I really need them to check them to know? I mean, is Google taken over by China already or not? What do you think?
Well, look at this story from the macro perspective. I mean, here's the CNBC headline. Peter Thiel's comments about spies in Silicon Valley have some basis in reality, but no evidence. And I saw just the headline originally. I look at that headline, I'm like, wow, is he actually talking about the DARPA and military connections to Silicon Valley? Oh, no, he's talking about Chinese. Yeah, I see where this is going. So they're taking this information, which actually is kind of popping right now, and my Silicon Valley podcast got out there. It's been seen over 100,000 views and already, and all that. But now they're taking that, even just that little nugget, and now diluting the search results. Yeah,
Silicon Valley, no. You think I don't get it, man? I get it totally. Silicon Valley secrets has got to be this one over that. That gets demonetized. That gets pushed down a little bit. You never see it. IPFS, we just did 5,600 more videos.
Awesome,
We Are Change, Press for Truth, Dan Dix, Truth Stream Media, awesome, and another one of Luke's channels, and we're doing a bunch more. We got scripts that go straight to IPFS, and we're pimping it out more.
Cool.
So
so let's put it this way. I'm sure Google is in bed with China, and Chinese agents try and infiltrate. Sure. Israeli agents trying to infiltrate, sure. Every government on the planet trying to infiltrate, sure. But let's look at the big elephant in the room, which is what I went through in my Secrets of Silicon Valley podcast. It's
U.S. military and
right, exactly. So
it's us.
So it's one of these things. Yeah, let's give them a little cookie crumb to lead them in this direction. And the cookie crumb itself is real. I mean, there's something to nibble on there, but it's not going to take
I'm with you, man. I'm just not feeling this is. I'm concerned enough that I will make efforts to make sure that this content does not go away, and they're doing everything they can to either hide it, diminish its results in search engine optimization, and they got like AI and Google. and Facebook. They wouldn't do that. That'd be wrong. Come on. I knew they were going to be doing this before they even started,
Yeah.
So I'm just, and
here's
I know
the thing: the battleground is moving, and that's not necessarily a good thing. I liked it when the old dinosaur media continued to poo-poo. Oh, the internet? Where did you see that on the internet? As if that was some kind of big put down. Remember, 10 years ago, you could just dismiss information. Oh, you saw that on the internet?
I loved it.
But now they can't do that so easily. Although I just had an interesting incident. I did a propaganda watch the other day about this piece in The Atlantic by this guy, McKay Coppins, who was writing about the Epstein case and how the Epstein case, is giving rise to conspiracy theories and all of this.
The terrible thing about the case, and they don't even care about the victims and 15 gazillion people.
Exactly. It's so bizarre. Of all the things to write about with Epstein and all the things that are documentably coming out that we've already known about for a decade. But anyway, they are now once again in the media spotlight. And the big thing to talk about is, but these crazy Americans are letting their imagination run wild. Yeah. And, that kind of article. But so someone I guess was tweeting him about my video about it or whatever it was, and he responded on Twitter with some YouTube weirdo must have found my article and took it to mean the opposite of what it really means or something like that. And when I saw that some YouTube weirdo, I'm like, wow, great. So the MSM are still going with that. They're still trying to downplay, it's some little pocket on the internet. Whereas my video probably has had 10 times more views than his article by this point. It's just ridiculous. But I'm glad that they underestimate it.
I don't even give him any credence, any credibility, any. But now alternative media is in the news big because Trump had him at the White House, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't get invited, but, I'm interested in that.
On that.
Well, what did you find? I got a little bit ouch quit it, but I'm sorry?
I know Bill Ottman was there from Minds, right?
Yes, and I just saw some Joe Rogan thing. Who is he with? It doesn't matter. But he's going. Oh, it was a Tim Pool one. I saw that he did here recently, and he's going to have Bill Ottman on. And I had Bill Ottman on over the years several times, and I just had him on a couple of months ago. Can I have my catapult channel on mines? Oh, I guess not. Little furry kittens in the cactuses, you can take them down. Well, then you're going to be able to take down the other stuff, and, that's how that goes. So, I think mines has got attention from Patrick Byrne, got some investment, and they're looking for a Facebook killer, but I'm not interested. If it's not, totally bite me pirate communication, I'm not interested. And I get some people coming on. There's one called PocketNet there we're going to be doing some more stories on and see if it's everything they say it's cracked up to be. But I think when it happens, it's going to happen. And it's going to be, where's James Corbett? Well, he's on a bunch of stuff. Well, okay, which one's better? Which one has this, and this? Boom, and it's going to go over there. So the alt media, the Trump alt media meeting, anything to come of that? Lamestream media.
I didn't really see what came of that. Wasn't there a Twitter outage while they were meeting?
There was a Twitter outage in it was Coinky Dinky was something. I don't think it was that. But it was
Okay.
It was God, what was it? Yeah, I don't care. There was and I just it's clickbait. But to
be honest, I don't have any interest in social media at all. I wouldn't be on there at all if I would.
Let's go on next thing because I've lost interest also. All right, so Facebook. All right, we're back into social media. Facebook and their Libra or their cryptocurrency. Got any thoughts?
Well, one is, did you see those Andreas Antonopoulos things?
No, I did not. I got the card here though.
Yeah.
Right here. I gotta pull it up.
One of the points that he makes, that he was making since basically they announced the Libra, was that this is like AOL. And AOL brought a stupid, ridiculous, nonsensical version of the internet to millions and millions of people. But hey, it brought the internet to millions and millions of people and got them at least online in some sense.
Well, they were Facebook. I mean, they were their own community.
Exactly, they were right.
They were CIA.
And so he's saying this is going to be the on-ramp for people into the world of cryptocurrency. It's a terrible, horrible one that no one should be using. Good
example, AOL. I can feel it.
Easy way for people to get in. That's and that seems to be it. But unfortunately, that also means this is where the governments start going, hey, whoa, wait, something serious is happening here. We better look at what's going on. So now we're getting the congressional investigations and crackdowns and regulation, and how now the government's taking it a little bit more seriously. So how are they going to crack down on this?
I see some of the stuff, and it's obvious they don't have any idea what they're talking about. So it's they're going to regulate it.
Congress that a decade ago was talking about the internet as a series of tubes, but they're going to know the intricacies of cryptocurrencies, right?
I think. See, my thing is, I'd love for them to have a GoldmanSachs.gov coin. Peace out. I don't care. It's going to be called Special Drawing Rights Basket Currency Fiat. Libra Facebook crap. I'm just like. Good. I mean, it took you long enough. I mean, it's about time, but they're going to try like this Craig Wright thing. Satoshi Vision is just going to say, and all other alts must be illegal. We're the compliers. We comply.
Yeah.
And
I did listen to your Jimmy Song interview.
Oh yeah. What'd you think?
And my takeaway from that is, I don't really care. My vision for what a cryptocurrency should be is clearly not the direction these Bitcoiners are going. But I don't care.
Care.
You want to take Bitcoin in that direction? Sure. But it is, as you pointed out, the strange part about it is their hatred of altcoins.
I'm like,
it's not just that so they think altcoins are scam coins, and, so, as you point out, they should just be like, all right, if suckers want to get ripped off, they can go over there. We'll have the real thing over here. Why do they hate altcoins so much?
Because they're told to. They're enforced to. Their clicks go up because of. This is all this search engine optimization and clickbait kind of volume of, how many whatever is all dialable. I mean, all the stuff that you've been I've done research on this. God, it was really clear to me during the Levolution. It was 08, 09. And I'm going, I see what's going on here. I mean, we could see it through our own tracking. Because when we started Freedom's Phoenix in 05, There was none of these widgets. WordPress who? I mean, none of that existed. What the hell is an MP3? I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. And when we do our own customized stuff, we track the data and we have our own, charts and our own, stuff that I don't even look at my own. And I'm going, what they're saying and what I'm seeing is a lie. They're not, this is manipulation. So I'm going, all right, I get it. Well, if you did the search engine optimization and paid us $1 gazillion, and that's another thing. Since all of this manipulation and on spam on emails and, diluting search results and all that kind of stuff, I have been getting exponentially increased hits and offers to fix it for me from search engine optimization. We can cure your crap. You're on the list of you need your crap cured, don't you? And I go, yeah, these guys are all sharing everything. So I'm just not interested. Screw them.
Yeah, I get about a dozen of those spam mails an hour.
Nah.
You're losing customers. You should optimize your site.
Right. Okay, there's a lot of other stuff. We're going to be doing, Davi's coming from Davi Barker from Get Bitcoin Not Bombs and Pirates Without Borders. He and I write the letters together, and we do a lot of art and so on. He's coming the 8th of August through the 22nd. So we always do like 3 or 4 times a year. We do 2 weeks, and we just, get down, head plow. Now, what I want to do is give you an opportunity to, give us a little bit of a paragraph of do this about that and write in this subject and kind of in this perspective and your listeners of whatever and the Corbettiers want, and we do a letter. And I'm just, we're probably going to do at least 2, maybe 3, 4. It depends how much research we do. And I'm like thinking, what are you thinking? What kind of issue you think needs to be approached?
Well, okay, I'm trying to think because you've done a lot of topics, right? I mean, you've done communication, you've done currency, you've done AI, you've done medical.
We've done immigration, we've done medical, war, self-defense, the justice system.
I must have missed the war one. What letter was that?
That's a letter of reprisal, the first letter of reprisal.
Oh, okay.
So it's from a female perspective.
Oh, is that self-defense, though, kind of thing, right?
There's a self-defense one, and there's an anti-war one.
Oh, okay.
And there's one on justice she did. So yeah, we have an anti-war one.
Because I'm trying to think, like, what are the big issues that everyone has?
Forever. I mean, these are timeless
anarchy,
issues.
And of course, it's the big ones. It's military, like, how would we protect the nation? Which, what does that mean in an anarchist world?
Yeah.
But also, who would build the roads? How do we take care of the sick? That kind of stuff.
I got a pirate ship that flies in space. I don't know about what roads. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
We could do I think we're going to do education as one of the next ones that we're going to be doing. It's going to be where are the children? Where are all these pirate children?
Yeah, that is a good point because, children can't rule themselves when they're 3 years old. I mean, who gets to be in their place and who gets to choose what goes on and what way?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of entertainment to be had. All right, Amazon and Google surveillance. We got to talk about surveillance. I mean, the surveillance state. This is getting creepy. A lot of research done by a lot of you guys, and it's not a secret anymore. They're not even pretending. This is like because this makes your life better, dummy.
Yeah. And here's a sneak preview for your listeners about this week's New World Next Week. We're talking about a story that was up on Zero Hedge. FBI to ramp up social media surveillance. Surprise, surprise. The FBI plans to step up its efforts to gather information from social media, issuing a call last week for a new tool to monitor Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms in a timely fashion.
No, that's just, they're already doing it. They're just trying to make it legal.
That's them. Yeah, exactly. That's them coming out and telling the public what's going on. But at any rate, it is more in the zeitgeist. And people are starting to get used to the idea, aren't they?
Yeah.
Again, Snowden, back, whatever that was 5 years ago, that caused a big stir and a lot of people were upset. These days, just seems like part of
What do you think the main issues are? I mean, we got other stuff. All right, God, man. Freaking can't go on to fun stuff till we talk about Iran. I always do this 3-week thing. They got some big giant deal. I'm like, 3 weeks. What? Yeah. What do you mean? I'm going, no, you don't know what the hell's going on until at least 3 weeks. And then once they got the 72-hour news cycle several times, then it gets into what really happened. And this disappearing Iranian oil tanker ship of British and American warship outquitted in what? What the hell's going on?
I don't know. I haven't been following the ins and outs of each part of this story, because it does seem like, yeah, okay, a lot of buildup. What fireworks are we going to get to here, and when? And this goes to something that people have told me over the years. You're always talking about Iran, but nothing ever happens there, and it's not going to be any different this time. And if you're playing the long game, people would have been right for the last 12 years to say that. I know it is an agenda item.
Sanctions have an impact on people.
Oh yeah,
and we're waging war.
They do on people. Exactly right, on people. It's remarkably ineffective at toppling governments, isn't it? But it's remarkably effective at making large sums of people mad at you. I wonder why they continue to do it with North Korea, with Iran, with other countries, as if this is going to be, it's failed every other time we've ever tried it. But this time we'll starve them out somehow.
Because we have...
I think they know that the effects of these sanctions. They know what the ultimate effect is going to be, which is to drive people into the arms of the extremists on the other side. That's why Ahmadinejad was popular a decade plus ago in Iran, was because the Bush and the neocons were threatening Iran. So, of course, you get an extremist on the other side and a hardliner. That's how this works, and they both play off each other.
We've been so jaded against a lot of this stuff. An institutional knowledge time through this crap. It's the same name, same people, same countries, same excuse, same. And the same people keep making a bunch of money. And it's the same. So it's hard to not be jaded on this. But I'm thinking we're in a little bit different time, which is why I'm so adamant about preserving data and the knowledge and like the shows that you do. Without those, I got to go another decade for somebody to come up with something and have a realization to add to when we already knew. I've had so many people, it was always in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, is all this crap John Birch Society said. And those crazy tinfoil hat, they were right again. I mean, it's this kind of stuff. So I don't want to lose that kind of knowledge anymore. I want it to be current, relevant, available, timeless, and build on it. And so I can see so much of your stuff. Those hate what you're doing. This is you've kind of skipped to the end. I do one DVD of James Corbett, which we'll be working on, by the way. That's one of the reasons why Davi's coming. We're going to get taken care of. And that is what they don't want. And I'm going to demonstrate it here in Arizona because it's always Arizona. I'm just going to just watch. You're doing a little bitty living space, and then it goes boom, and I go like that, dummy. So we're going to have some fun. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk, the Epstein case, there was some Israeli guy or politician that kind of sneaking in. He had some girls waiting on him, or he wanted to talk to Epstein, or got to pay off what the hell is he doing? I have no idea. But there is some link to Israel, this Epstein thing. What's up?
Ehud Barak, who was the prime minister of Israel, I don't know if he disappeared, but he wasn't the prime minister for a number of years, obviously. But just, I think, a couple of months ago, announced he was going to challenge Netanyahu in the next election, and that was building some steam. And suddenly it comes out, Ehud Barak was cavorting with Epstein. And he comes out to say, yes, I've had some meetings, but no, there was none of that going on, kind of thing. Well, okay, whatever he's going to say. So I don't know exactly where that story is today, but at any rate, that's the last I heard about it. Surprising? Not at all.
How much do you think?
But it is interesting, the timing on that.
How much do you think this Epstein thing is going to...
Threatening Netanyahu politically, suddenly this comes out. And, it's not like Netanyahu doesn't have his own criminal problems. But
well, see, again, I'm embarrassed I know as much as I do. I just really'd rather not these guys, waste my brain cells. But I'm wondering, this Epstein thing, how far you got to scratch on the surface before you find intelligence community, not just here, but, everywhere, including Israel.
Here's a few things that we know. His procurer, his madam, whatever, Ghislaine Maxwell, was the daughter of Robert Maxwell, who did work for British military intelligence, was suspected of working for Russian military intelligence, and had some sort of tie to Mossad. So, that whole melange.
I got to say this. I think it was you that made this connection. God, where did I see this? Barr, the Attorney General, what's his name? Bill? What's his name?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so. Barr, the Attorney General for U.S., his father hired Epstein as a college professor without a degree or anything. Oh, maybe. Okay.
I think some people are pushing back against that and saying that he wasn't there at the Dalton School at the same time as Epstein was. Other people are reporting it as fact, so I don't know what the truth is. But at any rate, he had some connection to the Dalton School where Epstein taught.
Yeah, there's more.
I don't know if he was the guy who hired him, though.
Well, I mean, I was kind of surprised at, how he got the job to begin with. He was a
20-year-old college dropout who gets to teach at this swank private school and then teaches the son of Hammer and Hank Greenberg of AIG fame and gets Wall Street connections and suddenly is this multi-billionaire hedge fund manager who doesn't seem to manage a hedge fund.
Yeah, how? Does anybody even know where he got his money from?
Well, that's the thing. No one knows. But there's been people speculating.
Even have
there
money?
Was one on Zero Hedge that would kind of laid out how something like that would work. Essentially, if you're getting $20 million hush money payments from billionaires, there would be paper trails, there would be IRS, whatever. I mean, that would not work. So what you do is you set up a money management fund for billionaires. And of course, a billionaire managing some big $1 billion fortune is going to pay you $5 million a year or whatever it is. And that's going to be all legit. You put it through your offshore, fund that they can't look at or can't tax. And it all looks legit. You don't have to do much. What you do is you take some of those funds and invest them in a stock index like an S&P tied index or ETF or something. You get a reasonable enough return because we're in the age of ever rising phony baloney nonsense equities returns, and everyone's happy. You make a little money for your clients, but of course it's all a big blackmail hush money thing. That's at least one way that this can work, and that would explain why no one on Wall Street knows Epstein and has ever done any dealings with him. He's not working these funds. How does he? He doesn't have a client list. No one knows the client list. He doesn't recruit clients. He actively turns people away. Why would you do that? Unless, of course, this is all just a big blackmail thing that he's just running.
Well, it's when you say hedge fund, because I remember when they were going around calling people hedge fund managers, those were the gazillionaires. Those are the guys that made all the money. So you want to know he's a hedge fund manager. Oh, well, that explains everything. And I don't run in those circles, so how the hell would I know? So it just seems now with the internet and information available, you start scratching the surface on this stuff. Yeah, it's not holding up so good.
Hats off to people like Vicky Ward. She was writing about this in Vanity Fair 2002, 2003. And she was asking these questions and going into his background and had two of his victims who were at that time in 2003. So years before he got successfully prosecuted for this. 2003, she had two victims that were going to go forward and on the record in that piece. And then Epstein gives a visit to her editor. Epstein also had some sort of relation to her husband's boss or something like that, and pressure was applied. And suddenly the story ran, but those two victims get edited out of the piece. And 5 years later, he ends up getting convicted.
So what do you think the end result is going to be? It's going to start to uncover a bunch of, Podesta, Clinton, email, pay to play, extortion, blackmail, videotape. I'm just waiting for Trump, the movie, that will better include all this stuff.
Well, yeah, who's that movie going to be produced by is the real question.
Trump.
Here's the thing. So, at this point, I think this is too much, too public, too big a story for it to be completely memory hold. At this point, something has to come of it. So the question is, who's going to be the sacrificial lamb? How much information will get revealed? How will they put the lid on it at some point? I mean, I'm not expecting everything's going to come out, but some things will come out.
It's negotiation. This is Trump negotiating. All this stuff, all these headlines you see is Trump negotiating. This is all we got. We know I have.
The frustrating part of it is they're digging up these things that are just like, you see how this is playing into sort of the mainstreamy narratives, and they just spin it off into nonsense. Like this new tape. Oh, Trump and Epstein partying in 1992. And here's a pic of party footage of them, but he was saying he's not his friend or whatever. But there's a whole context to this. Yeah, in 2002, Trump was saying that he knew Epstein and they were friends. But then after that point, at some point, when these accusations started coming, then Trump did something to distance himself. And he says he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago in the early 2000s. But we can't nail that down. But anyway, so footage from 1992 of them partying. Okay, well, there he is, there they are, but we already knew they were friends. So this isn't bombshell information, but they're trying to spin it in this way because, of course, it's going to be made into a political thing. And then on the other side, there's the people, it's all Clinton, it's all the left. You know, no one on the right could be involved in this, right? Obviously.
Well,
so,
there was, he is exactly what he wears on his sleeve. I mean, on his back. I mean, you know, he is like, I'm a political operative.
He have a Nixon tattoo or something?
He's got a Nixon tattoo in the middle of his back. Yeah. You know, and so he's a political operative. This is what he does. He does well, and he gets the news cycle, and he likes working with Trump because that's the kind of, they do the same kind of stuff. And he came up with something. I think he was the one that did the Freedom of Information request that got the flight records for the Lolita Express, or he was showing them. It was in his book or something. And so all of these this documentation, it's just information, man. It just keeps coming out. So this, I don't get all worked up. I don't know. A lot of people get really worked up about a lot of stuff. And the only thing that I really, honestly, the only thing I'm worried about is humanity being changed. Because this stuff doesn't work if we're like human, okay? If they can, you know, vaccine it out or pollution it out or, you know, social engineer it out or scare it out or usually a mushroom cloud somewhere, and they can do that to get you to adopt, accept, run to, beg for, whatever, well, that's how you do it. The more information you get and the stuff that's produced by, you know, James Corbett is so valuable to bypass those steps each time. We are sentient beings. I mean, we can think critically, at least enough people to, you know, save ourselves. So that's why I think they're trying to change us. And where do you see that?
You know, I think it's working. I mean, think about it. If you could go back and have a conversation with your great-great-grandfather when he was, you know, 30 years old or something, I mean, how do you think a conversation like that would go? And trying to explain where the world is today, and I mean, would you even be able to communicate with each other?
I think so.
I think some significant differences. I think.
Yeah, but I think I can bring it down to, you know, they, them, those. You know, there are those that just want to be left alone, and those that won't leave them alone.
Well, okay, yeah. Actually, you might not be the best example of this, but I'm thinking the average kind of dumbed down normie talking to.
Think about it. It would be it'd be the Thomas Jefferson guy coming in and going, "Oh, so it's been you know, a couple and a half centuries ago, and you still got bad guys." You know, which sociopath positions do you have? I mean, you know, it's going to be the same kind of thing. The tech's going to change. How did you
overthrow the government? Right. In order to take down the tyranny. Right. Yeah. But as I'm saying, like, I mean, the spirit, the mindset would be very different than the average mindset out there today. Maybe not. Maybe we are kind of the outliers on this, but the average.
I tell you, have you run for office or any of that stuff? Got involved in the politics or anything? I've ran for office every 2 years since 1990 up until about 10. Okay. And I didn't vote, you know, for about half of that, but I'd run. And you get out, and the people, once they hear the truth, that's why the Ron Paul thing was such a big deal. And I remember Perot in 92. And man, people are like, oh, hell yeah, I am so sick of this stuff, is why the lamestream media, the media so last century, is getting their ass kicked. It's because people are making conscious decisions. No. But what they have learned, and what they try and convince you of, is that it's your neighbors that are crazy. You may know what's going on, but all your neighbors are whacked. Well, I'm supposed to trust what the computer says, you know, at the election day. So I think as time goes on, it's going to become more and more obvious that it's just public opinion. It's not going to be at the vote. It's going to be where I buy, live, move, do, bite me.
But who is setting that public opinion? And here's what I always go back to is I always talk about when I'm doing research and I'm watching like old interviews of people. And it's not like I'm not even talking professional interviews with professional speakers or anything, just sort of like man on the street interviews with high school students or whatever in the 1950s. And it's like watching something from another universe. These look like fully capable grown adults who are forming complete sentences and being coherent and making logical points and stuff. And then, you know, look at what we're presented with as an interview with a man on the street today. It's a vast difference. And I keep pointing that out, but actually I just had another instance of that recently, because now that YouTube is jiggering their algorithms, of course, I get fewer and fewer videos recommended to me that I would actually care about,
right.
And more mainstreamy, normie kind of videos. But one interesting set of videos that I find being recommended to me a lot right now is Dick Cavett Show, which I guess is recently being put on YouTube. And so, you know, Dick Cavett, talk show host from the 70s. He's the one that
talked to Nixon, and if I'm the president, it's not illegal.
Right, yeah, right. But so he interviewed all sorts of people.
And he was British, right? Was he British or was he British and American?
David Frost. But yeah, Dick Cavett was the American talk show host guy.
Okay, what was I thinking? Frost was the guy that did Nixon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So the Dick Cavett show,
like
Merv
that
Griffin,
that show
that kind of
stuff.
Thing. Yeah.
And so I've been watching some of these, and it's funny. Every single one of these interviews that I watch, Orson Welles or whatever, you go down to the comments, and every single comment is like, "Wow, people were so articulate back then, and this conversation was like a real conversation." And it's so different than anything we'd see on TV today. Like every single comment is noticing that, which shows me a couple of things. One, yeah, the discourse is very different on mainstream normie TV today than it was, even 30, 40 years ago. But number two, the public knows this, right? And they are being encouraged to watch the McDonald's style nonsense fast food version of talk show garbage that passes for television entertainment these days. But people realize that they are being fed fast food garbage, dumbed down nonsense, and they can recognize a real conversation when they see it, which is why I'm part of the reason why something like Joe Rogan is popular. I mean, whatever else, at least it's 3-hour conversations that are really just conversations. It's not scrunching in news sound bites between advertisements. It's actual conversation.
Yeah, I'm his opinion and his guess I don't necessarily always agree with. That's not the point. For me to even have just a discourse and a calm discussion, and the one thing that has been coming up a lot lately, there is no opportunity to have the kinds of discussions that we would have even 20, 30 years ago. They're not allowed. You can't use you can't even have opposing opinion. There's one opinion. Google said what it was, and you better be saying it. And if you don't, then you're going to get SJW'd out if you're not allowed to talk. And it's amazing, a lot of the comics have abandoned performing at universities. They're just like, you can't do it. George Carlin, he'd be done.
Yeah. Which is crazy when you think about it, because he was ultra progressive, ultra left, but yeah, he would be go back and listen to his stuff now, and you're like, oh, you couldn't say that today.
Well, he had the 7 words you can't say on TV or something, is blah, 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 and blah.
Yeah.
And
I don't think we can say those on air.
I don't remember what they are. I mean, he'd go through them, and then he had a slander for every race too, or something like that. And of course, he was doing it to make a point and have fun with it, and he wasn't racist, but it was just to even do that. You're not allowed. But what happens? Do you know there's a tour? Did I tell you about this? Did we talk about this? Okay. You like this? Comes out of this is Andrew Dice Clay and Roseanne Barr are touring together, Mr. and Mrs. America.
I did not hear about that. That's hilarious.
Isn't that perfect? It always comes out. I mean,
it'll be a big hit. I guarantee.
Absolutely. And I went to look at I would go just for the spectacle of it, just to say I did, to report on it. I mean, to something. And I looked at the schedule, and I wanted to know how many $1 billion these tickets are. But they only had like 3 or 4 runs, like Atlantic City. It's kind of the Northeast Coast, New York kind of thing. And but if they fill up and sell out, and what's going to happen. So what will they do? Those, SJW, whatever the hell, they cannot have this be successful while everybody's car getting keyed or something. They have to stop this campaign. Now, of course, it'll get taped and it'll go all over everywhere anyway. But I don't know what can be done to stop the backlash.
I mean, this is one of the things that exposes the kind of craziness of this, is that back in Carlin's day, it was the progressives and the left that were railing against the censorship and the straight-laced right-wing people who were trying to suppress their free speech. And now, that political position has exactly flipped, hasn't it? Which just goes to show that politics is just cheerleading for, Coke versus Pepsi.
Do you remember the show Rowan and Martin?
Nope.
Laugh something. What was it? Whatever. There was a variety show that was on. We had the
Laughing?
Smothers. Laugh-In. Right.
I've heard of it.
Laugh-In.
I think my great grandfather told me about it.
Right. So it's like, early 70s, something like that. Well, it was we're hip, man. With barrel bottom. It's where Goldie Hawn got her start. She was the dancing bikini chick, okay? So that's where Goldie Hawn came from. She was the dancer on Laugh-In. And there was so much stuff that came out of that. But I remember them talking. I'm a little kid, and they're doing, hey, we have a few guys in the hospital, some dead from warning shots from the police or so. I mean, they were actually kind of getting a little edgy. And then it was always sock it to me, And Nixon came on one time and goes, sock it to me, So it was, you could see they were using television to kind of, laugh it off, bring it down. Yes, you're seeing it's okay. But then the Smothers Brothers. The Smothers Brothers were a, performing duo comedian team that they were pushing the edge, and they got nailed, and you're not allowed anymore. They were some of the original YouTube bannees back in the 70s. If you look up the Smothers Brothers, you'll see the censorship that happened to them and how they fought back. But it's when you have so few opportunities to get your message out, you have to be creative and do it on the broadcast channel somehow or something. Well, it's not like that anymore. All of a sudden, how many subscribers do you have in total, all your stuff? Bunch?
Excellent question. I don't know. If I believe YouTube, there's 330,000 there, I think.
Yeah,
and then
a lot. Okay.
Tens of thousands on other platforms.
But you're not an influencer. You're an educator. That's even better.
No, I'm a YouTube weirdo, according to that McKay Coppins guy, right?
McKay who?
Exactly.
So there's, what are some of the stories when you go and get your interest? You're going out and going to get something. Like, what are you working on now and why? What shiny objects get your attention?
Right now, intellectual property. I think because it's one of those topics that when I started to learn about it, I saw it in a completely different way. Like, I never had a strong opinion about it. But when I started looking into it and listening to, like, Stefan Kinsella, and I'm like, oh, right, that makes total sense. And now I see it very clearly from that perspective, and I understand the argument, and I understand why the arguments on the other side are wrong. But it's not something I've really done a lot of work on or articulated to my audience. And now I find when I kind of mention it, I get a lot of kickback from people. Oh, we need copyright, we need patent. I'm a writer. How am I ever going to make money without copyright, kind of thing? And I'm like, oh, here's a big juicy thing that's really important that I can sink my teeth into and really, really get some information out in a big way. Plus, that is one of the main pinchers that they're using on the internet right now, because of course, intellectual property only benefits the big politically connected corporate interests. And the funny thing is, it's one of those things where it's the public's imagination is the exact wrong way around. No, I need it to protect me from the big corporations, because if I write a popular book or something, the big corporations will be able to copy it and make millions of copies and distribute it and make money off of my idea. And it's the exact opposite thing. That's exactly opposite to how reality works. No, the big corporations come along and get you as their slaves under contract so that they own your intellectual property and maybe lease a certain portion of it back to you. Whereas, if you're a little no-name, nobody writer that nobody knows about, okay, copyright your stuff and make sure nobody takes a copy of it, but no one knows who you are. No one cares. No one's going to buy it. No, we have the exact wrong image of how this is working and how it should work. Plus, there's the ethical side of it. So I'm definitely going to be exploring
that.
Wait.
And, ethical. What do you mean ethical? Give me, how you come to the ethical idea of intellectual property.
It is immoral, because intellectual property is not property. Property are the physical objects that I own, that are my things, that I do with what I want because they are my things. Ideas are not my things that I do with what I want. And if you take my idea, no,
you still have your idea. Nobody took it from you.
Exactly. One, nobody takes it from you. Two, if they take it from you, steal it from you, to use that language, which is wrong language, you still have it. It isn't a rivalrous good. That's the key economic term to it.
You have stole the money that I could have made.
The reason why the immorality of it comes in is because the idea is essentially that you can use the government as the enforcement arm to come in and tell other people what to do with their actual physical property because you own some idea. So you own some chord progression So you can get the government to come in and stop me from using my fingers to play certain chords on my guitar because you own those chords. You own that idea, right? No, you can't physically stop people from doing what they want with their actual property because you have some claim to some idea that's already out there in the universe that you didn't come up, that you didn't invent it. You didn't invent those chords. I mean, even the entire thing is nonsense. And I know you know this because one of the, I've listened to so many Stefan Kinsella debates, but I remember specifically you had one, I think last year maybe, that you hosted. That was hilarious and entertaining to watch the other person.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was doing here. I just sent you the 5 shows that I did with Stefan Kinsella. Okay.
Right.
And in the beginning, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm not digging this intellectual. You give me some ammunition here. Help me out. Give me a cleared. And a lot of my friends and supporters and people kind of, we get it. We knew something's wrong. It's just fundamentally wrong. And so Stefan Kinsella, really launched a lot of that. And guys like Scott Beezer that does a lot of artwork for, now he's a graphic artist. And he called in, I had Stefan on one time, and the first time, and he was just all over it. And since then, he's totally changed. It's just, this just doesn't work. And so in the letters of Captain Mark, it's called the 4th letter, Patterned Monopolies. And the point that we're making is, like what you said, they demand legal protection while salting the landscape behind them. Other potential inventors are restricted from using their own property and forced to navigate a wilderness of prohibited ideas. So you can't even make a statue out of your own freaking marble. I mean, that kind of thing. So
not if it's in the shape of Mickey Mouse, that's for sure.
Right. So this is just, it's stupid things don't last. This is one thing that I've learned. I'm 58, okay? Been doing this 30 years, and I'm telling you, stupid shit doesn't last. It's just general public opinion of how stupid it is. That's why it's so essential that this data be stricken from the available research material of any junior high kid doing a freaking report on the Federal Reserve. This is important stuff, and it's this accumulated knowledge of, it goes back to John Locke, this right of the individual to defend the individual and be an individual is like discovering gravity or something, So this is, we keep progressing, and I'm going, yeah, they're trying to regress. He's progressed. It's always the opposite of whatever the hell they say, So I'm just going, no, it's just stupid. So why would I be concerned? If they can change us, all they got to do is find the right chemical pathogen, trait, gene, DNA marker of something, and all of a sudden, nope, there's a future William Wallace, and he's terminated at 7 years old because he had DNA. And you laugh at this, and I remember in the 70s junior high or something, there was a short story that they had these books, readers that y'all read, and like 1984 and stuff, that you ain't seeing anywhere in the public system now. Standard reading was Animal Farm and, 1984 and Brave New World and all this other, stuff. And I'm going, where the hell is that now? And I remember this one story about a kid was like, Dad, why is the grass green? Nobody knows. Why is the sky blue? Because of, nobody knows. And goes through, and eventually somebody comes to take him to take a test. They come back and they tell the mother and father, because he was a really curious kid, he goes, we're sorry, your son passed the test. And, then you realize what that means. They had to kill him because he was too smart. And I'm going, yeah, and I always remembered that. This was the late 70s. Required reading in school here in Arizona, public school. And I'm going, yeah, we're getting there, man. Well, any final words? I know you got to get going, man. But
well, it goes back to everything we've been talking about tonight. And this goes back to the technocracy. This goes back to the dumbing down. It all ties together because we're being engineered into a certain world order. And that's the big picture that we have to keep our eyes on. I'm doing my bit to whittle away at it and to document it as I can, and I hope people will be along for the ride, CorbettReport.com.
You keep doing what you're doing, and I'm going to keep making, at the very least, make sure it's there to do with. That is, awesome. I have been so adamant about having, it's one less thing I got to do. People really should know about this, blah, blah, blah. And Corbett makes an awesome video on it, and there's a lot of other people out there doing that too, but, you always count on James, and then I need that. I need to use that. I know exactly what, where, and when to give certain people certain information that will change their life and all of ours by us just becoming aware. And the bad guys know it too. That's why it's going away, and they got a memory hole. Don't let it go in the memory hole. TheCorbettReport.com. Peace.